It is Thursday, November 17th, 2022, and we're back for another daily recap of the NASDAQ. And starting on the daily chart, we can see our analysis from yesterday was very much spot on. We'd said in the recap last night that if price came down to these levels, we could expect a wick, some sort of wick to form. And that I would be looking to buy to be a part of that wick. And that's exactly what happened. Price came down, as we're about to see, on the lower time frame, and then started to push up. Remember, this is the weekly order block. I'll just jump to the weekly, so that's what this level is. And on the daily, this daily low, just the tip of this imbalance right here. So we had known that this weekly order block was possibly rejecting price, or price was stalling here. We had this consolidation and this swing high and a initial push lower that got rejected here. And if we look at the 1 hour, we can see sort of how price performed throughout the day. Actually, first I want to just illustrate again this 4 hour imbalance. We said yesterday that if price does not go into that and it just drops lower, and then we start to see a bit of a reversal here, that we now have a nice draw on liquidity, a nice target, these equal highs right below this imbalance, and price could still be reaching for that. It doesn't have to make it there, but that's kind of where my eye is focused on right now heading into Friday. But back to what happened today. In Asia, stayed pretty range bound here. London took the high, steady decline. And then right at New York Open, New York Stock Exchange Open, we got one little push down right before the open, and then a big engulfing candle to the upside, this order block here, and created this gap. And that would have been where I would have liked to have entered. I would have just gone to the 1 minute. By the way, you can see a clear market maker buy model here. And that's another great confluence. So if I go onto the 1 minute, so this is where the ideal entry would have been. This would have fit my plan had it not been the time of day. So I don't trade the first few minutes of after the New York Stock Exchange Open. Rarely do I ever do that. I usually like to take the entry no earlier than about 9:45 a.m. So often what I see in a setup like this is this gap would get created, it would continue higher, but it wouldn't get filled until after around 9:45 Eastern time. And price did come back into this gap, but because it had already been tapped into several times before its initial rally, I decided I wanted to wait and see more, because I didn't know if this was gonna maybe come lower. There's some imbalance down here. So I was just a little bit, it wasn't exactly what I wanted to see for that reason. But this would have been the entry, something like this, 25-point stop, maybe a little bit lower. Had this not been tapped into, it would have been just this would have made the week, really. Something like this to the 1 hour for value gap. That would have been, or maybe just to these, probably equal highs here. So 4 to 5 hour, something like that would have been just a killer trade. But I did not take that entry. And then if I look at the 5 minute, this was another entry that I passed on. I should have took this one. So this is the weekly order block level, this red level. We impulsed through it, and price, it's really just an OTE. And look at how it kind of consolidates around this order block level. So it gaps through it, comes back down, deviates below it, reclaims it, several opportunities to enter, and then we get the follow through to the upside. So my entry was on the next leg after that. Again, we have a clean break above these highs. It's really just kind of like a support and resistance if you think about it. But I think on the 1 hour, this looks like a breaker. So you had that, you had on the 30 minute, you had a gap here, and you had to the 50 fib here. So it's a great trade for me. I had my stop here. I didn't think it needed to be lower than this low. Just, I think I really liked that. I just liked it. I've seen this a lot where it only comes down to the 50 in this type of situation. And I was holding the trade up till here. I took my first partial, the first tap into the 1 hour gap. But then on the 15-minute, I could see that price was really stalling here, and these bodies were basically respecting this 1 hour gap. And so right around here, I took the rest of, not the rest, but almost the rest, like probably 90% of my position I took off around here. And then left the remaining piece on, and it took me out at about break even or a little bit of remaining profit here. So all in all, I think I netted about 2R or so, which made up for one of the losses earlier this week. So overall, we're in a small profit this week, which is nice, but clearly the ideal entry would have been down here. So we can see on the 15-minute it's just creating all these upside imbalances. So clearly it's gapping where price wants to go. And then we had a sell-off after lunch. Could have been another buy down here, but by this point I was pretty much done for the day. And then a final rally and then going sideways. So heading into tomorrow, we have to remember tomorrow is Friday. And let's just take a look again at our weekly candle. And how might we close this weekly candle? Well, given what we've seen so far, price hasn't really wanted to go up and price hasn't really wanted to go down as of now. So my guess is it's going to close somewhere around in the middle, which would be some sort of doji. And I'm just going to keep an eye on this last week's high here. So I feel like we're going to close somewhere between these two. Really, honestly, from where it is now to this level, I wouldn't be surprised if we just kind of hover around. Maybe we try to go above this daily high, look bullish, and then sells off back towards the middle. On the hourly, we're still respecting this gap. So, ideally you'd want to see if we close above this candle here, if we get a close above this high, some sort of pullback into this 4 hour imbalance above these equal highs, and then taking profit about at this weekly level or at the fill of this 4 hour candle. So something like that is what I'm going to be favoring for tomorrow. It doesn't have to do that. We could fail at this high. Maybe price raids this high and then either raids this high or falls short of this high. This is the bearish scenario where it kind of comes close and then we get a sharp, although then it would just be filling here. So, even then, I just have to see. So much happens between Asia and London before New York that could alter the plan. So I'm not going to get too attached to a specific path that price is going to take, but I do have my eye above these highs and just keeping an overall picture of the fact that we have this very obvious retail pattern of this, this trend line break, whatever you want to call it. So the price is broken down out of it. I think it brought in a lot of sellers who probably put their stops, above here. And we now have a V reversal off of this liquidity area. Price has been bought up, rejected very aggressively. And we have this now sideways consolidation. And typically after we get a V reversal like this, price is likely to consolidate and then continue in the direction of the most recent impulse here, which would have been to the upside. So definitely favoring longs more than shorts, but we will keep an eye on everything and report back tomorrow. And that'll be it for tonight. Have a good one.